Hello and welcome to this Tech Talk. In this session, we will be going through a zero-code omnichannel chatbot in 30 minutes or less with Amazon Connect. Throughout the course of this session, we're going to answer many questions. We'll start off with what exactly is Amazon Connect, and then we'll move into the question, what is QABot, and how can we build interactive chatbots using the QABot solution? Then we'll discuss in depth why customers are choosing to bundle these two solutions together. We'll go through a walkthrough on how easy it is to get QABot into an Amazon Connect based contact center, and then we'll talk about next steps on how to get started. But before we go any further, we have to answer the question, what is Amazon Connect? Amazon Connect is the rapidly deployable, simple to use cloud-based contact center technology built for and used by Amazon.com. AWS brought Amazon Connect to market so that our customers can deliver exceptional omni-channel customer experiences while leveraging the same pay-as-you-go model people have come to expect from the cloud. It includes standard contact center functionality like skills-based routing to maximize agent efficiency and increase customer satisfaction, voice and chat recording, supervisor features, a host of real-time and historical analytics capabilities, and so much more, all delivered over the internet as part of a cloud-based offering. Because Amazon Connect handles all telephony capabilities, customers can launch and start taking calls in about 5 minutes. This time to value has contributed to its rapid growth and adoption over the last few years. Amazon Connect was built from the ground up to be 100% cloud-based. There are no servers to install, applications to manage, or browser extensions you have to push out to your organization. Instead, every part of Amazon Connect is available purely in the browser by default. This means your agents can be located practically anywhere in the world as long as they have a broadband internet connection and a headset. Amazon Connect can be launched in minutes, and organizations can focus on building out customer experiences using the self-service interface, as opposed to managing things like SIP trunks, PBXs, or carrier contracts. Being an AWS service, Amazon Connect comes with a number of APIs that make it easy to integrate with existing enterprise applications, whether they're in AWS or on-premises, using the serverless compute service, AWS Lambda. This open API-accessible design has allowed our vast ecosystem of partners to develop hundreds of integrations with Amazon Connect. And these integrations are across a variety of domains, whether that's security, analytics, workforce management, reporting, so much more. Like other AWS services, Amazon Connect is pay-as-you-go. There are no minimums, thresholds, agreements, or per-agent licensing contracts. Whether you consume 1 minute, 1 million, or more, Amazon Connect can scale to help you meet those requirements. Amazon Connect isn't just a voice-based contact center. It was designed to be omni-channel in nature, giving you a unified view of all of your customer interactions in one platform across all applicable channels. The Amazon Connect chat channel allows you to leverage the same experiences you've built for voice, the same chatbots, the same reports, the same queues, the same agents, all inside of the same application. Now, chat is designed to handle the asynchronous nature of chat conversations. Whereas you'd expect more or less an immediate response over voice, chats have the tendency to go idle for a couple of minutes. So the channel is built with that in mind. You can also configure it so that agents can accept multiple chat conversations at the same time, increasing efficiency. Job zero at AWS is security, and Amazon Connect is no exception. Amazon Connect complies with FedRAMP Moderate in our US regions, is PCI DSS compliant, HIPAA eligible, and participates in other programs as well. For our chat channel, this means that we make sure that all of our conversations are encrypted end-to-end. And just like the voice channel, Amazon Connect Chat is pay-as-you-go with a per-message pricing model. We're also making it easier for iOS users to engage with Amazon Connect with Apple Business Chat for Amazon Connect. By registering your phone number with Apple Business Chat, users that are using Maps, Safari, or Search can tap the messages icon to start a chat instead of initiating a phone call, meaning users can leverage the chat channel while using the same familiar Messages app. This lets you provide a better customer experience while leveraging the same benefits of the chat channel. This includes reduced costs from a connected minute standpoint and a potential for increased agent efficiency. For the agent, incoming contacts look just like any other contact coming into the chat channel. The ability to launch a contact center in a matter of minutes across multiple channels has fundamentally changed the way people are viewing contact center technology. No longer are customers beholden to lengthy procurement cycles or expensive and cumbersome professional services agreements to make even minor changes to their contact center. They can respond to real events in real time, iterating on the experiences and services they provide to their end customers. Amazon Connect also allows you to gain meaningful insights out of contact center data. Not only can you leverage the real-time and historical metrics available within the application, you can stream contact trace records out of the system, as well as other metrics, into a data lake or a data warehouse to do things like anomaly detection, call forecasting, and as well as other business intelligence type work. But we've taken it a step further with Contact Lens for Amazon Connect. With a few clicks in the console, you can take advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities to do things like call transcriptions, keyword search, sentiment analysis, call categorization, real-time supervisor assist, and so much more. But as call volumes increase, more and more organizations are looking at ways to embed intelligent automation into their customer service experiences. And Amazon Connect makes it easy to do just that. They want to know how they can provide information to their customers in a scalable, easy to manage way. They want to be able to make changes in response to real-time events. They want to be able to automate as much as they can, whether that's navigating the contact center, filling out basic information, or even running entire workflows. In a traditional environment, it would be difficult to do that. You would have a contact flow or an IVR that looks something like this. Hello, thank you for calling my company. Press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, and so on. We've all been in the situation where we've called a business where by the time we hear all of the options 1 through 9, we've not only forgotten which number we're supposed to press, but likely why we've even called in the first place. While Amazon Connect can certainly enable that type of dial tone menu, we believe that there are better ways to interact with customers. These types of menus, while they work, are difficult to build dynamically and aren't flexible enough for most workloads. And this is where chatbots come into play. Chatbots allow you to build a more conversational interface as opposed to a traditional dial tone menu, meaning customers can leverage their voice and their words to traverse the customer experience. With conversational interfaces, we can better understand why our customers are calling and better serve them. And Amazon Connect makes it easy to embed chatbots inside of a contact center across multiple channels with Amazon Lex. Amazon Lex leverages a similar natural language understanding engine that powers Amazon Alexa all over the world. Think about all of the things that we're able to do with Alexa devices. You and your customers can harness the same ability to either provide or receive excellent customer service. The goal of this is to move repeatable high volume, but not necessarily high value tasks away from humans into self-service, whether that's routing to certain departments, discovering information, or even automatically resolving the reason people call or contact in the first place. Chatbots provide a number of benefits. End customers get better customer service because they're able to interact with the bot immediately and in real time. Bots free up queue capacity since customers are able to go through self-service. They're not waiting to speak to an agent. Agents can spend more time adding value to the business instead of on these high volume repeatable tasks. And finally, since Amazon Connect is pay as you go, if these customers aren't waiting on hold, you're saving money because you're not paying for that connected minute. Now let's take a look at what I mean. Let's say a caller dials into Amazon Connect. By using the serverless compute service AWS Lambda and the metadata from the call itself, we're able to reach back into our CRM system to know who the caller is, as well as a backend system, perhaps a flight booking system, to understand why they might be calling. Then, using the powerful text-to-speech engine available via Amazon Polly, we can create a customized greeting, proactively greeting Nikki Wolf by name with the appropriate messaging to respond to her flight being canceled. Depending on some business logic, we can automatically look at remediation steps, in this case, rebooking the next available flight. Using her voice, she can respond to the bot by either confirming or asking for another day. The Amazon Lex bot is able to take that user input, understand what Nikki Wolf is trying to say, reach back into the flight booking system, and make that change on her behalf. What's important here is that at no point did we have to wait on hold to get a human agent involved. Nikki was able to get an immediate resolution to why she called using the automated tools that were provided. This frees up agent time, queue time, and most importantly, Nikki's time. But building chatbots can be difficult, and this is where AWS QABot comes into play. QABot is an open source solution that was built by our professional service teams to make it easy for AWS customers to go out and deploy an entire stack across multiple channels in order to provide information out to their end customers. It has a graphical user interface where anyone can go in, start curating questions, change responses, and immediately deploy out new information across all of their channels to all of their customers, whether that's on a website, as an Alexa skill, or inside of a contact center using Amazon Connect. Under the covers, QABot uses Amazon Elasticsearch to store questions and answers, but it can also integrate with Amazon Kendra. Imagine being able to provide your organization's entire knowledge base or knowledge repository out to your end customers to be queried using natural language. But any machine learning application needs feedback in order to learn over time. This is why QABot comes with an integrated analytics stack that uses Kibana that allows you to understand how your customers are interacting with your bot, across what channel, what questions are being asked, and more importantly, what questions are being asked that the bot doesn't yet know the answer to, so the bot can be continuously trained over time. QABot is different than other chatbot solutions. It can be deployed within an hour using a pre-built Cloud Formation template. This means that in the span of a day, you can deploy an entire stack and immediately begin providing information and iterating on that information in real time. You immediately gain the benefit of the analytics stack, since all of these interactions with the bot are recorded as part of the reporting dashboard. While QABot was designed to be this type of question-answer system, the opportunity for enhancing or innovating on the solution is endless. Like Amazon Lex, QABot has the ability to invoke AWS Lambda functions as part of a response. This allows QABot to go and integrate with other enterprise applications, really anything that's accessible over a network. It can query APIs, trigger automation processes, look up the status of a ticket, change the status of a ticket, reset someone's password, schedule an appointment. It's really endless, and it's all possible using QABot. Like other chatbots, the goal of embedding QABot inside of a contact center is to better serve customers, provide value, and reduce queue times. Now, both Amazon Connect and QABot are designed to be deployed very rapidly without writing a single line of code. Of course, if you want to integrate with enterprise systems or add additional capability, coding is required depending on the business function. But at its core, these two solutions can be entirely controlled using the built-in UI. Now let's spend some time talking about a customer who has deployed both QABot and Amazon Connect. Oklahoma State University at Oklahoma City has a support center where, under normal conditions, students could come to the center and ask questions or phone in to ask the same questions. Since human behavior dictates that if there's a person in front of you and the phone rings, odds are you're likely going to speak to the person before answering the phone. So what ended up happening was about 50% of calls actually went unanswered. So in order to better serve students, the university created a Q&A bot implementation and deployed it across multiple channels. They embedded this bot in their website using mobile chat and over voice using Amazon Connect. This allowed students to ask questions of the university without having to get a human involved. But if the bot didn't know the answer, it was possible to seamlessly escalate to someone who could assist the student with their questions. Since QABot tracks both the matched utterances as well as the missed utterances or the missed questions, the university and the administration were able to constantly iterate and train the bot based on the questions students had at that time. As conditions changed, they were able to monitor and understand how these questions were evolving and proactively modify the questions they had curated, but also the responses to make sure students had as much information as they needed, as well as the most up-to-date information. According to Michael Waddell, the interim president of OSU OKC, integrating the technology into our hybrid system and processes is helping us automate routine interactions, enabling human time to be reinvested into the student experience. This technology is proven in other industries, and we're eager to discover its impact on higher education. And Michael hit on a really important point here. Because we're able to use automation and provide self-service, we can reinvest valuable employee time into either more high-value tasks or to reinventing the experience altogether. It's all about giving you more capability to innovate and provide better service. So I've talked about how easy it is to set up these two systems. So let's spend some time actually doing that. We'll jump over into a walkthrough on how you can deploy QABot, Amazon Connect, and integrate a Q&A bot-based chatbot into an Amazon Connect-based contact center. All right, so let's spend some time talking through how to launch QABot, Amazon Connect, and how to build this integration. Here we are inside of the AWS Machine Learning blog. This is the primary blog post that you'll find a lot of information about the QABot solution. It includes this nice, nifty button that provides you a one-click deploy solution in a variety of AWS regions. I'm going to select the Northern Virginia region. This will bring us into AWS Cloud Formation, which is a way to deploy infrastructure as code. Now, since we already have a template, we can use the default setting here, click Next, and then we have to add in some parameters. The first one is to decide how large we want our Amazon Elasticsearch cluster to be. By default, we have an option to select a 4-node cluster. This is recommended for production environments, but if you're just doing a pilot or running a test, you can select the 2-node option. Next, you have to provide an email. This email will be used as your first administrator account into QABot. We can optionally select whether we want our Elasticsearch cluster encrypted or not. Obviously, for production environments, we recommend that you use the encryption option. We can also choose whether we want our default QABot client to be public or private. I'm going to select private. Select our first administrator username, and then optionally configure X-ray. We can go through the rest of the menu, adding in various tags if we want. Hitting Next. We can review our selections. Select and acknowledge the IAM disclaimers, and then you would select Create Stack. Now this stack takes about 15 to 30 minutes to deploy, so I've gone ahead and pre-deployed a stack so we don't have to wait for that. So once the stack is deployed, we can go into the parent stack, select outputs, and this is where we're given a number of links. The important one right now is the content designer URL. This will bring us into the QABot designer. This is the menu where anyone can go and start curating your questions and answers. You can see I don't have any questions here, so I'm going to go ahead and add one. For a question, we have to give it an ID. So I'm just going to say Q&A.001. And I'm just going to put in a question for help, just to make it easy. We can provide a response. Hi, welcome to QABot. Ask me a question. We can spell it right. We'll hit create. And now that question has appeared inside of our knowledge repository. If we wanted to query this question, we can select from the menu and select the QABot client. This is a built-in UI that makes it easy to test your various questions. So if I type help, QABot is going to go into the knowledge repository and return the answer that we just curated. Now, if I don't like that response, if I want to change it, all I have to do is select my question and add in more information. So let's say I just want to add a link to the blog post. I can select update. If I go back to my client, I can retype help and notice the response immediately changed. I didn't have to push out a new version. I didn't have to rebuild any code. It was immediately available across this channel. But this tech talk is about how to integrate QABot into Amazon Connect. So how do we do that? Well, first things first, we should navigate to the AWS Management Console. So that's ready. And then going back to the left-hand navigation menu, we can select this widget for Connect. The QABot team has built this wizard to make it easy to walk through how to build out this integration. So the first step is we need to provision an Amazon Connect contact center. So let's go ahead and do that. Within the AWS Management Console, we can type in Amazon Connect and navigate to the Service Console for Amazon Connect. You can see I already have an instance here, but we're going to go ahead and create a new one anyway. So I'm going to select Add an Instance and walk through how quickly and easily it is to deploy an Amazon Connect instance. First things first, we have to decide how we're going to manage users inside of Amazon Connect. We can either use a built-in user directory or integrate with an existing Active Directory solution. Or we can use SAML 2.0 to integrate with other single sign-on solutions. So I'm going to use the built-in user directory, and I'm going to give it a unique name, hit next, and I'm going to create my first administrator. So I'm going to put in my information here. Let's make sure I know what my password is. Give it an email address. Hit next. We can select how we want to handle telephony, whether we want to handle inbound or outbound calls. Configure our data storage. Here we can configure where we want our call recordings, chat transcripts, and exported reports to land. By default, Amazon Connect creates a new Amazon S3 bucket for you, so you can leverage the same scalable and highly durable storage platform for all of your contact center data. And then we go ahead and review and create. So while that does that, let's go back to the QABot Connect wizard. So QABot deploys a new Amazon Lex bot inside of your account. So once the Connect instance is created, we need to associate that bot with the instance. So my instance is still being set up, so we'll do that later. We also need to create a contact flow. A contact flow is the process flow by which users navigate your contact center across all of your different channels. To make it easy to put the bot inside of Connect, we've actually installed this contact flow download button so you can get a pre-configured contact flow for your contact center. We've also added the steps on how to add a phone number to your instance, and then gave you some sample questions. So I'm going to go ahead and import those questions. So once our Amazon Connect instance is launched, we need to give it access to invoke our Amazon Lex bot. So to do that, we can go into the Amazon Connect service page, select Contact Flows, and then from the Amazon Lex submenu, select the QABot Lex bot. So we've gone ahead and associated that bot. Next, we need a way for users to actually engage with it. So to do that, we need to create a contact flow. So I'm going to log in to my Amazon Connect instance. And this is the application where administrators can configure everything that they need to configure in order to manage an Amazon Connect contact center. Up here on the upper hand menu, we have our quick link to documentation. We have a link to open the contact control panel or the agent experience. So let's spend a minute talking about that. With the CCP, agents can log in and accept calls and chats right from their browser, whether they're using a Chrome or a Firefox browser. They can do things like change their status. Of course, you can create customized statuses if you want. They can make outbound calls if you enable that. They can tab over to the chat channel for any ongoing chats. They can also change different settings, whether that's their phone type, language preference, as well as log out at the end of the day. On the left-hand side, we have our primary navigation menu, where we can go through things like our metrics and quality reports to view things like real-time metrics, historical metrics, individual contact records, log in, log out reports, and more. We also have our user management tab, which allows us to manage all of the users inside of our Amazon Connect instance. We can configure routing profiles, which determine which types of contacts groups of users can actually take across what channel. We can customize our agent statuses, our different security profiles to provide role-based access control, as well as agent hierarchy. But we need to concern ourselves with contact flows right now. So under the routing menu, we can see different options for managing phone numbers, our prompts, our queues, our hours of operations, as well as our contact flows. So let's go ahead and create a contact flow as described inside of the QABot wizard. So if I go ahead and import a flow, I can import the contact flow that was downloaded as part of the setup. So if I select import, it's going to load up that contact flow along with some additional configurations. So let's spend some time actually walking through this. First, I'm going to give it a name. So in the contact flow, we have an entry point, and then we have this flow diagram, which determines the user behavior on a block per block basis. So first things first, we're going to set our logging behavior so we can collect the logs from each interaction and understand what's happening. Then we're setting the voice of the contact center. Over the voice channel, we can select which language we want played out to the user, as well as what language we want to use. There are 28 or more different languages and language variants for people to choose from. And this text-to-speech capability is included at no additional charge. And then we go into the QABot specific configurations. We'll walk through some of these prompting mechanisms a little bit later, but first let's verify that our bot has been successfully added to this contact flow. So here we can select the name of our bot, select the appropriate bot that we've given access into Connect, hit save, and hit publish. So we've gone ahead and deployed that contact flow inside of our Amazon Connect-based contact center. If I go back to the Q&A bot designer, I can see that the questions from the wizard have imported successfully. So let's go back to the main menu and take a look at what these questions are. So here we have a number of questions that have been pre-populated by the wizard, including one for standard, like when is your business open? What are your hours? So let's test that particular question inside of Amazon Connect. So if I go to the dashboard, there's a handy test chat page here where you can test out your interactions before deploying them on your websites and other channels. So if we select the contact flow that we've just created, we can go ahead and start interacting with Q&A bot inside of Amazon Connect. So you can see that we were greeted with a welcome prompt. This is some bit of verbiage that we decide as an organization to greet the users with. So inside of the contact flow, we have three different ways that we can actually configure prompting. We have our default prompt, which is anything that is said to the user when we don't have an explicit follow-up. So if I just use my help question from before, you can see that Q&A bot goes back into the knowledge base and returns what we had put there. Welcome to Q&A bot, ask me a question, here's the link. And now we have this default prompt, ask another question or say return to main menu. But for a lot of questions, there are natural follow-ups that you want to guide the user into for a happy path. So for an hours of operation, I say, when are you open? It may be possible that you have multiple locations. So we're able to present the user with the response as well as the natural follow-up to that particular question, just to make sure that we're giving the user as many opportunities to find the information that they're looking for. Within the questions themselves, we can use something called handlebar notation to actually make that behavior work. So if I open up the hours question, you can see we have different types of utterances. These are different ways people can ask the question. Of course, you can add more over time. But we have our response. And then using this session attribute, we're able to change what that default prompt is going to be for that particular question. Now, there are other configurations that are included as part of this sample contact flow. Inside of the bot block itself, we've set a number of other session attributes, including the ability to barge in mid-response. So let's say you have a particularly long question with a particularly long response. You don't necessarily want to force your user to actually listen to the entire response before asking their next question. So by enabling this flag, Q&A bot can allow the user to ask their next question when they're ready. Of course, this is only available via the voice channel. We also add in other flags like is connect channel to let Q&A bot know where this user is coming from. We've also included the Connect contact ID. Now the contact ID inside of Amazon Connect is a unique identifier for that user. Since we're collecting this information here, we're able to use the reporting dashboard to actually understand user journeys so we can see visually which questions people have asked in a particular order. We're passing in our information for next prompt, passing in some additional Q&A bot specific attributes for topic and Q&A bot context. Now, Q&A bot can also be used as a routing mechanism. So inside of this contact flow, after we get the user to interact with the bot, we're checking a particular attribute. Here, we're checking Q&A bot got answer. This is a default attribute that's returned from Q&A bot to tell the application whether it actually found a response or not. If it didn't find a response, we can use the looping block to determine what happens with the user. If you have a user that's been asking a lot of questions of your bot that it just doesn't know, odds are you want to provide some exit path so they can either speak to an agent or go someplace else inside of the contact center. So we can use this looping behavior to keep track of that for error handling purposes. But if we did find a response, we can look at different attributes of that response. So say we want to configure a routing mechanism. We can use session attributes to determine how to route the user based on that particular question that was asked. So a common request might be, I want to be able to speak to an agent if the user says agent. So we have a question inside of the sample for agent that goes through some variations on how someone might ask for a representative. And then once again, we use handlebar notation to set this next action attribute, which will take the user into this check attributes block and down the path for agent. Now here, I just have it playing out some prompting and then disconnecting. If we wanted to configure the contact flow to actually route to an agent, it's very easy to do that. So on the left-hand menu, we have all of the blocks that are available inside of the contact flow engine, ranging from playing a prompt, getting customer input, setting different attributes, setting a working queue, setting logging and call recording behavior. So first things first, we need to set the working queue, just so we can tell the user or tell the contact flow engine where to actually route the request. Now, I only have one queue inside of my Amazon Connect instance, and that's the basic queue, so I'm going to select that. Now, let's say I also want to record the call. It's very easy to do using the Set Recording and Analytics Behavior block. Just turn on call recording. All I have to do is click on and select which parties I want to actually record. If I want to enable contact lens, which is that feature where you can use machine learning and artificial intelligence to do things like call transcription, sentiment analysis, and so much more, it's enabled quite literally with a click of a button. I can choose whether I want the analysis to be done post-call or in real time. I can set the language of that particular call. And if I'm running a regulated or a sensitive workload, with a click of a button, I can actually redact sensitive data from that conversation entirely. So we've set the working queue, we've set our call recording behavior, and now we actually need to get the caller to an agent. So we have some other categories of contact flow blocks that all do different things, but the one that we need right now is the transfer to queue block. So this will look at the working queue and transfer the contact to that particular queue. So normally here you would want to add in appropriate messaging for your at capacity or your error branches, but for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to route those to disconnect. So we've gone ahead and built out that contact flow. And now if a user interacts with our bot and says agent, we can actually route them to a particular agent or a group of agents. But let's say we wanted to go through a different use case. Let's say we're running some sort of IT support center. So using the QABot import feature, we can actually import a new set of questions. So if I go ahead and import my IT set of questions, I can import those. It's going to submit the job and then populate all of those questions into our interface. You can also export questions for source control. So if we refresh our page, we can see that we have our IT set of questions. And now let's actually go through the entire demo. So if I close out that chat interaction from before, I can start a new one. The chat interaction is going to fire up. We're going to be greeted with our welcome prompt. And I can type in something like tech support. So QABot is going to find the appropriate response for tech support and use that next prompt construct to guide me into the best place of self-service. So let's say I'm having issues with a projector. Not surprisingly, our bot doesn't know how to fix a projector because no one really does. And we're going into the golden rule of IT. Have we turn it on and turn it back off? or turned it off and turned it back on? I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. Well, we haven't really figured too much self-service when it comes to fixing projectors, but it is going to give us an option to go speak to an agent. So I can say agent, and it's going to put me into queue. If you notice on the right-hand side, I have the Contact Control Panel, or CCP. This is the agent experience. As an agent, I was able to accept that conversation, and I can view the entire transcript of the user's interaction with the bot. So I understand immediately that the customer is calling for tech support and they're having issues with their projector. So I, as an agent, can communicate with the user, help them resolve their issue, and hopefully the customer will have a positive interaction. So in a matter of minutes, we were able to spin up a new Amazon Connect instance. We're able to walk through the QABot Connect wizard and integrate a Q&A bot-based chatbot inside of an Amazon Connect instance. Now, I've only demonstrated the chat interface here, but if we associated a phone number to the same contact flow, we could go through the same exact experience over voice. So we've walked through how easy it is to get these two solutions to work together. But of course, we have more options to help you move forward quickly, whether that's with our AWS Professional Services, our vast partner network, or even from your AWS account team and AWS support. There are options to help you and your teams navigate the journey of reinventing the customer experience. We even have a specific professional services engagement designed specifically around Amazon Connect and QABot. So if you're interested in learning more, please reach out to your AWS account team. Especially this year, organizations across the world are looking at the ways they provide customer service and the services they provide. Using cloud-based technologies, you're able to take advantage of the speed to value at which these technologies can make a difference. And you can do it within the span of weeks, days, or even hours. You can launch entire mission-critical platforms, provide information and services directly to those who need it most, while leveraging the scale and reliability of Amazon Connect, which is trusted by thousands of customers all over the world. Using the built-in user interfaces, you can iterate on experiences and change them in real time in response to real events. You'll also gain insights and analytics from both platforms, whether it's the built-in metrics on Amazon Connect, whether it's Contact Lens on Amazon Connect, or even the analytics dashboards built into QABot. Like other AWS services, all of these solutions are utility-based. There are no contracts, minimums, thresholds to get started. AWS customers can launch both Amazon Connect right from the console and QABot from the solution blog. Whether you're a commercial industry in hospitality, technology, financial institution, or in public sector, whether you're a federal customer, educational institute, nonprofit, healthcare organization, people have questions and you have answers. Using a combination of Amazon Connect and QABot, you can more effectively provide that information, those critical services, and support to people all over the world. If you'd like to learn more, please feel free to check out these additional resources, whether it's the Amazon Connect product page, QABot blog, the open source GitHub repository, and especially the Amazon Connect QABot integration guide, which is available on the GitHub repository. That guide will walk through some of the more advanced configuration options we mentioned inside of the walkthrough. So thank you very much for attending our session. Please feel free to stick around for some Q&A.